Right, sounds good. We'll get started here. So, hi everyone. Firstly, I wanted to thank everyone for attending today's information session on the total compensation program. We had a lot of interest in today's event, which really speaks to how important this topic is, especially to this community. We really hope this information session will provide everyone more valuable information on the TCP. My name is Emily Branchard, and I'm a research technician here at PMCRT, and I'm one of the members of the Committee of Research Professional who are putting on today's event. The RP at UHN is a group of staff working across all of the UHN Research Institute, and our purpose is to provide a platform for research professionals to network, collaborate, and to provide resources, such as today's information session, to our community. I wanted to introduce today's speaker, Anna Gordon, as well as her colleagues, Barbara and Amal from People and Culture. Anna Gordon is the People's Consultant Director supporting UHN research. And without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Anna, who's going to teach us more about the TCP. Thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you, Emily. I'm pretty impressed to see 133 people here. I did think that there was maybe a bit more, I think 200, but since we did receive the email from Kevin and Sheila on Wednesday, perhaps some people's questions have been answered. I want to start by introducing a new colleague that we have to People and Culture, and but also who is Amal Obadat. She will be temporarily supporting compensation, which is where she came from. She has 10 years of experience working in People and Culture at UHN. Nice that she's spotlit. And she's recently returned from a maternity leave. And we are so grateful to have her working a bit hybridly right now to support the TCP and Bill 124 initiative, as well as working with us as a people consultant, replacing Vin Pham. So we're very lucky to have her, and she is going to be helping us with our presentation today. Her client group will be McEwen, Kite, JDMI, and I probably forgotten one of them. But we've got it. We'll have it all updated on November 1st when she officially joins us. I'm also joined today by Barbara Carter, who was at our last meeting like this, and she is our People and Consultant Project individual, and she is allowing us to really be more strategic in the work that we're doing as a People and Culture group. I recognize today is a highly anticipated day, but also the Band-Aid has been ripped off and that you do know a lot of the information from the email. I hope that we're able to provide some clarity. As I say to everyone, this is one of those natural things, especially because it pertains to money. Everyone wants to know what's in it for me. So I'm glad you're all here. So people generally think, what's in it for me? And then we have leaders who think, what's in it for my budgets? Because this is a very significant lift, and it is something that we are proud that we will be able to compensate more equitably with respect to current inflation, but also it will be challenging moving forward with respect to the large amount of money that this is costing. So I'm going to go to the next slide, which Barbara will share, and I always want to give a big plug for the stuff that we do. Sometimes when we think about People and Culture, we think about only coming to us with crises and transactional things, but we really are and aim to be a strategic business partner with you. We have had some recent challenges with respect to our processing times. Please rest assured we are working on those, and they are at the forefront, but we do a bunch of other really important things. So over to you, Barbara, to talk about those things.
Awesome. Thank you, Anna. So as Anna was saying, we do a lot of work here at People and Culture. So as you can see in this list, if you need help with hiring, which is job postings, drafting interview questions, issuing offer letters, we have talent acquisition. If you need help with payroll codes, time capture systems, groups, payroll entries, that's what payroll is for. Employee records are there to help with human resource policies, benefits information, change of information requests, anything 2552 related, there's employee records. And then our team, the People Consultants, we're there if you need help with strategic human resource matters, like organizational structure, compensation matters, performance management, new initiatives, or even just general concerns. So I guess the real takeaway from this is you're here today and you're meeting myself, you're meeting Anna, Amal's here, some of the other members of my team are here, like I know Stacy's on the call, I think I saw Elaine. And if you ever don't know where to turn or don't even really know what your question is or how to even begin addressing it, I really encourage you to reach out to your people consultant. We have the contact list at the end of this presentation, and just remember, we're here to help. And even if it's something related to one of the other areas and you don't even know who your contact is there, we can point you in the right direction. So it's nice to meet all of you. There's 162. We definitely won't have time for introductions, but just remember our names and remember our faces. And if you ever need anything, don't be afraid to reach out. And with that, we'll now go into the meat of the presentation. So I'll pass it along to Amal.
Thank you so much, Barbara, and thank you so much, Anna, for the warm welcome. So I just want to give you an overview of what TCP is. It's UHN's total compensation program, and it provides employees with an annual adjustment to all eligible employees. We also, during this time, conduct a market review to ensure our jobs are competitive against benchmark jobs. So we make sure we're as competitive as possible to the market. And our TCP is subject to annual revisions and approvals, of course. Great, so 2023 TCP adjustments. So there's been lots of changes, as you guys are aware, and a lot going on. So since 2020, we had a limit of a 1% market adjustment for market, and that was due to Bill 124. As you're aware, Bill 124 has been repealed, so the TCP adjustment for 2023 is being administered as an across-the-board increase of 3.5% instead of merit, position and range, and market. And this increase will take effect on April 1st, 2023.
Hey, and so you might be thinking, who is eligible? And so this is just a general overview. So it's non-union employees who are eligible for TCP, and it's employees who are working at UHN on or before September 30th, 2022. So for example, I myself started January of this year, so I'm not eligible for TCP this year. It's also employees on short-term disability and on maternity or parental leave of absence are eligible. They'll be seeing the increase when they get back. And also employees who've worked a minimum of 450 hours or more from April 1st to March, or 2022 to March 31st, 2023. And this year, because it's across the board, everyone who's achieved a performance rating of developing or higher, and those who have a pre-TCP salary below the 2022 range merit maximum, which is 116%. Excluded employees who are not eligible are employees like myself who were hired on after September 30th, 2022. Employees who are covered by a collective agreement, because this is for non-union employees, and then employees on WSIB or long-term disability. And now I'll pass it off to Anna to explain a little bit more about some of the changes this year.
So one of the big questions that we've recently received is, why is this, why, if I got outstanding, am I not getting a higher increase? And what we wanted to talk about was that I wanted to address it before the question came up. So our performance enhancement and the total compensation program are and have been differentiated programs that guide the development and reward of eligible members of Team UHN. Performance conversations are crucial for employee development and retention. So we wrapped those up in May, and we were really pleased with the uptake with the ratings and the discussions. Remember, we all, our leaders put our ratings into VIP, and a large majority of us had these conversations, and I hope even more continue to engage in these conversations next year as we further refine our program. So if we get back to the TCP piece, this includes 3 components: merit, position and range, and cost of living. This year, our decision was to provide a 3.5 TCP increase across the board to eligible employees, and Barbara just shared the eligibility criteria. So why was this decision made? The decision was made in the context of working to achieve fair and competitive wages while administering both TCP and Bill 124 adjustments this year. But we understand that there's still some questions about the merit. So as in previous years, merit was one component that is considered when defining eligibility of employees. The difference this year is that all employees receiving performance enhancement rating of developing or more receive that same percentage. And those that do not meet expectations do not receive the TCP. Everyone should understand that employees can receive a performance rating of developing and above and still be ineligible for TCP based on their position in range, date hired, or hours worked in previous years. So what I do want to say is please stay tuned for further refinements of the performance enhancement and total compensation programs for next year. We had talked about the concept of decoupling them, and this is just that. And here we are today, bringing together these two pieces, which are providing significant increases to a very large majority of people's salaries.
Okay, and so then once TCP is all administered, everyone will have their TCP letter who is hired on or before September 30th of last year. So all non-union UHN employees will get it through employee self-service. And if you haven't gone through employee self-service, if you go onto the intranet, there's the employee tools, and then you click on the self-service, and then you'll see this main page and the employee TCP letter. It will show up here on October 7th. So even if you're not eligible for TCP, but if you were hired on or before September 30th, you will get a letter, but it will just show that your salary doesn't change. And for those of you who do get TCP, you'll see how your salary has changed. And then for the rest of us who joined the organization more recently, we just won't see anything. We'll get our letters in future cycles if the system continues as is. So that's all that we have to talk about TCP, because we now want to move on to the other topic, which is Bill 124. So I'll pass it back to Anna.
All right. So this, everyone then says, you know, what's in it for me and how are you calculating this information is the majority of the emails that we've received from Wednesday late afternoon. So here is the time frame. Effective October 7th, all active non-union employees, that means if you're permanent, temporary, casual, will see a 3.75% increase based on their post-TCP salary. So let's talk about that for a second. Let's say you're eligible for TCP, you've now received 3.5% as of October 1st. In order to calculate what your increase is now going to be, your future salary, take that new salary and then multiply by 1.0375 or whatever it is. It's the exact math, but it's 3.75%. So October 1st salary is then generated from October 7th, where everyone here who is working as of that time frame will receive a flat 3.75% for Bill 124. So individuals who are on an approved leave, such as a maternity leave, will see that when they return. Who is excluded? Those who leave UHN before October 6th. So if your last date is September 29th today, you will not be receiving it. And those who start on or after October 8th, 2023. So if you started on September 15th, you will be receiving this 3.75% increase. And when will you see this new pay? You will see this new rate on October 26th. So that's the salary increase of 3.75%. So there's three pieces to this, right? So we talked about the TCP, covered that one, who's eligible, who's not. Now we've said everyone who is here as of October 7th will be receiving this additional 3.75%. Now we're going to move to the third piece. The third piece is what's the lump sum payment. And this is a little bit complicated on how it's calculated. And it is based on the moderation period, which is 3 years in duration. So you can see our grid here. We've done year 1, year 2, year 3. This all started on October 1st of 2020 and is ending on September 30th, tomorrow, of 2023. So lump sum are based on base pay as of September 30th. And there's 3 separate calculations. So I'm going to walk you through a couple of examples. I kind of feel like I could, use a whiteboard showing some math, but I think it's relatively basic math that we can talk through it. So this is based on hours worked up to full time. So this doesn't include overtime, etc. if you were paid for that. So it's hours worked. So let's say you make $60,000 on September 30th 2023, which is tomorrow. All of these calculations are based on that salary and your hours worked from a prorated perspective. So if you have worked for all 3 of these years and you have worked 1950 hours, which is a full-time hours for everyone based on 37 and a half hours a week, you will receive 0.75 of your 60K. In that first year, you'll receive 1% in the second year of that 60K, 2%. So essentially, those are 3 calculations that are then added up to be your total. Life gets a little bit more complicated if you haven't been here for those 3 years, because again, it's still based on hours worked. But let's say you started in January of this year and you have worked, let's say you've worked 1,200 hours, you will then receive 2% of those 1,200 hours at your hourly rate. And remember, I used the 60K as an example, but we generally work in the terms of hourly rates based on a full work week, which is 37 and a half hours. I hope I was clear. Luckily, we have Slido, so the chat's not blowing up, but I think that is helpful. And again, at the bottom, all active non-union employees are eligible. Permanent, temporary, casual, postdocs, etc. So if you were here for any portion of that, you will be receiving a lump sum payment, and this is how you can calculate it. So let us move on. And now, as Barbara indicated, here are all of the our contacts, just as a reminder of who, if you need help. Anyone with individual questions about TCP and Bill 124, I would encourage you to come to your people consultant, because at this time, our payroll and records team, as well as compensation teams, are very inundated. So please refer to your questions to us, and we will help you. So I think that brings us to the question component.
Wonderful. So thank you for everybody who's added in the questions to Slido. You can continue to do that. And if you see a question that you also have, feel free to upload it so it gets sent to the top. So the first question we have for the team is, do we have a separate performance review with our manager this October?
You will have as per the performance review program that we've had, you'll continue on those quarterly conversations, and then we will go from there with the rating to be submitted in the May-June timeframe. Am I correct on that, Amal? You're on mute, Amal.
That's correct. Sorry.
Okay. So we are on the same track that we were last year, and we have those quick conversations between the end of 2022 and early 2023 to start us on this path.
Fantastic. Thank you. Another question that is popular, many of our salaries are funded by grants or project funding. Will TCP increases or lump sum payments be made regardless of PI's grant funding?
Yes.
Amazing. Will the Bill 124 increase be applied to maternity parental leave top-ups as well?
I think you receive that when you get back. Amal, can you confirm that?
That's correct.
Yeah. So your top-up will not change.
Amazing. The next question, can pay bands be made public? The pay band is specified on our pay stubs, but it is essentially meaningless if we can't see the range.
At this time, I am of the belief that everyone should know what pay range they are in. Culturally, we have not widely shared these. This is something that I am supportive of, but we would have to think of a way to do this that would make the most sense. If anyone is interested in knowing the pay rate for any role, please email your people consultant and we will share it.
It's very helpful. I'm sure that a lot of people will be interested in that.
Please don't send me 100 emails after this call.
Amazing. Will promotions or raises that were being considered prior to this announcement or in the coming months still be honored?
Yes, so this is a complicated scenario and one that it's very important. A promotion and a raise are two different things, but sometimes individuals see them as the same. So a promotion is new duties, a new title, etc. And compensation is compensation, but these are usually tied together because if you get a new role, you should be, you'll be receiving a higher income. One thing that was very important to me to be financially, fiscally responsible was that we were not, in most cases, issuing promotions in the months of August and September, because at that time, we were unaware of the impact of Bill 124. So absolutely, they will be honored. This is an individual thing that we will speak with, the manager, the employee will be kept in the loop. So the additional income that the compensation that you will receive with your promotion, there will be a component of thought given to the fact the recent increase and where that is on our new ranges. We're working on our new ranges, which will be available soon. As you can understand, the compensation group is very, very busy. So the new ranges will be available. We will absolutely honor a promotion if your manager agrees and is supportive of that, which I assume they all are. We'll have that conversation and we'll take all of these components into consideration with respect to your new compensation.
Wonderful, thank you. Many people are asking to confirm, everybody eligible will be getting this 3.5% TCP and then 3.75% Bill 124 adjustment on top of that.
Absolutely. So you've got your salary September 30th. Tomorrow, you will get if you're eligible for TCP, you're going to get 3.5%, which brings you to 3.5% higher. And then October 7th, your new salary, you can then do the multiplier and you will get the 3.75%, providing that you're an employee before that time and you're an active employee before October 7th.
Wonderful. Jesse has a question. Where is the funding coming from for the Bill 124 related payments? I.e., is it coming from UHN or will the government be providing additional funding?
This is something that I am not, I'm not the best person to answer that question. There is a combination of where this is coming from. And my preference is that information pertaining to research comes from Research Financial Services.
Will people be eligible for TCP when they haven't received a performance evaluation? For example, some people aren't sure if their supervisor has filled out that form for them.
Yes. And also, if your supervisor didn't fill it out, A, let's talk about it because we want them to fill that out for next year. We can fix that. B, the system defaults to meets expectations, so therefore you qualify.
Sorry, I'm just screening the questions. If you continue to have more questions, feel free to add them. Somebody wants to just clarify, Amal, the answer for the top up. The top up, if you're on maternity leave or parental leave, your top up will not be adjusted because you will be receiving the adjustment when you come back. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Will postdocs that were individuals who were postdocs before September 22, but then were transitioned into a permanent role still considered to be eligible?
Yep. Providing that they worked the minimum hours. I'm not sure it's like, a very small position. I'm assuming it wasn't in hours, but yes, providing they meet the hours threshold.
Great. Why are some employees being paid 35 hours versus others being paid 37.5 hours in research?
Good question. When I started, we worked to move a lot of individuals to 37.5. And every time that we have, we see that someone is still paid 35, we look to remedy it. If you are in a scenario like this, please reach out to us and we'll work on this on a one-on-one basis.
What professions are part of allied health because they receive an additional 1.75%?
Amal, do you know the answer to this?
Yeah, so that would be, for example, occupational therapists, social workers, kinesiologists. These fall under the allied health category.
Great, thank you. So somebody again is asking if the ranges for jobs are available, and Anna already answered that they are, that you can ask for the ranges.
At this time, they are not ready yet, but they will be ready soon. And the answer to how soon, I do not know, but I would say soon.
So just for full transparency, if anybody is asking questions about their particular scenario, I'm prioritizing questions that are more general first, because you can talk to your people consultant to find out the information of how it affects you specifically. So we have a question about, if you've been on leave for the last 3 years, will that affect your TCP or Bill 124 calculation?
Amal, do you want to take that one?
So it depends on the leave. Anyone who's on LTD is not eligible for Bill 124.
Great. Can you share the eligibility slide again, just so people can review that?
Yeah, I see Tharshini has a question about the 116 range. Can we, Amal, can you clarify that as well?
Sure. 116 is a comp ratio. It's basically the 90th percentile of the market. So we consider a prime rate for the work you do. So anyone who has a pre-TCP rate of 116 or above would not be eligible for TCP.
And I think, did that cover it, Tharshini? Because you had asked they will not be eligible to receive part percentage. Do you see that question in the chat, Amal? I just want to see if you could
Let me look at that.
make sure that we've covered it. Further, I want to address further while Amal takes a look at that, the 35 to 37 and a half. You should speak to your manager and speak to people consultants.
Great. So we're still continuing to get questions.
No, they would not receive part percentage. Sorry to interrupt. But they will get Bill 124.
I'll let you keep leading the questions, Amanda. And if everyone could just focus on the Slido, it's a bit easier because it is a little bit distracting because I want to answer everything. But I like that Amanda's moderating.
Yeah, I'm getting distracted there too. So yeah, if you could, that would be really helpful. Okay, so we have a question that asks, why is it only a one-time payment and not a larger percentage increase? 3.5% does not seem to take into account the lost wages due to the Bill 124.
That's a very difficult question and one that I can't answer independently. This was a decision that was made at the executive level in consultation with the provincial government, and this is the number that was decided.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So who do we contact in cases of issues with performance enhancement reporting?
Your people.
Perfect.
And I will say, not everyone has been perfect on the performance enhancement conversation. We work really hard to encourage all of those conversations, and we will continue to work hard on those and work with our leaders and our employees to make sure that those conversations are had. So if you ever are struggling with something like that, please reach out to us and we will more than happy shepherd a conversation between your leader and you as the employee.
Great. So we have a couple of questions that are related in terms of, if you were, and I know we covered this already, but we'll just do it again. If you were on leave for part of the time in one of those years that are covered in Bill 124, do those hours of years of leave, like a mat leave where you're receiving top up, does that count towards your Bill 124, like will that count as active work?
I'm going to pass that one to you, Mo. You're the guru on the numbers.
Yeah, so it would be, because we would not want to disadvantage anyone who would be on a leave, especially an approved leave like a maternity leave.
Great. If somebody has switched positions throughout the last 3 years, will the existing PI they work for be responsible for the lump sum for Bill 124?
No, your current PI.
Right. Somebody's asking if it applies to postdoc, and yes, it does apply to postdocs.
We're very, very proud to say that this does apply to the postdocs, and this has been, something that we worked hard on this year with our minimum salary and our ranges for postdoc different levels. And we're very pleased to say that TCP will be given, as well as Bill 124 components, to all of our postdocs that qualify.
Great, this is a wonderful thing. And personally, I just want to say thank you to Anna and her team and to Brad for advocating for that as well, because it's been important and it's great to see that happening. Any updates on Project Revitalize?
At this time, as you can imagine, Bill 124 adjustments have taken priority. At this time, we have done an incredible job of receiving numerous job information questionnaires and job descriptions. So we want to thank everyone who participated in that. It was fantastic, and we look very forward to refocusing our work from the compensation team on this, just as soon as this component is over.
Based on the presentation, the TCP is not reflective of the individual's performance. Can you please elaborate?
Yes, we can go back to that slide. I read a whole blurb about that at the beginning because I knew that that was coming, and I will read a little bit on it again because it's important that we keep that messaging consistent. So give me 1 second and I'm going to pull it up. So these two things are separate, and basically performance enhancement and total compensation are and have always been differentiated. Individuals often think of them as aligned because of the fact that your pay was changed as a result of your performance. We did wrap up these conversations in May, and we were super pleased with the uptake and the ratings. Again, a few individuals indicated the ratings weren't put in. Those default to me. Please connect with us and let us know if you need any help on that. Going forward, if you did not have that conversation, the reason that direct merit is not involved in this is because we wanted to provide a 3.5% increase across the board to eligible employees. This decision was made in the context of working to achieve fair and competitive wages while administering TCP and Bill 124 this year. But we understand that there's still questions about this, which are continuing to come up. In previous years, merit is just one component that's considered when defining eligibility. The difference this year is that all employees receiving a performance rating of developing or higher, so those that say do not achieve are not receiving this, they all are getting TCP at the same rate. Everyone should understand that employees can receive a performance rating of development. We talked about that already. And again, TCP, we've talked about the eligibility requirements of that. But at the end, please stay tuned for changes as we continue to evolve and grow this program. So we look forward to some more information to be distributed next year on what, the decoupling of our performance enhancement and total compensation program.
Great. Are TCP criteria, merit, market, etc., available for the previous years? For example, the percentage that was given for each of the criteria for the previous years.
Yep. Please email them all, and she can find it for you.
Great. Many people are asking about whether it's possible to share the slides or the recording. We will share the recording. It will be sent out likely Monday morning. And we'll send it out to everybody who's registered. So if you haven't registered yet, please register just so we have your email address and we know that you want the recording. Or yeah, that's the best way to do it, to make it easy. We have a question. If I leave UHN before the lump sum payment in November, will I still receive it?
You have to be here as of October 7th, correct, Amal?
Yeah.
So as long as you don't leave before October 7th.
For the lump sum payment, though, it's not October 7th after the TCP increase, the lump sum payment, you do have to be active
Okay.
to get the lump sum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for the clarification, Barbara. Again, these are all the type of questions that we're receiving moment by moment. So thanks, Barbara, for being up.
I also want to speak to the presentation as well. I know the people consultants are putting together a more comprehensive slide deck, which we're planning to share as well in the coming days.
With a ton of FAQs on there that we've been generating through people and culture and doing these presentations in the last 2 days. So you'll get this recorded if you want to listen to this again and see it, but you will also receive, you also have the ability to look through a more comprehensive version from people in culture with all the FAQs.
And just to clarify for the mat leave lump sum, so it says that they will see a lump sum retro only if they have hours worked in the 3-year window. If any portion of that time was a leave of absence, that will not be included in the calculation. So just to clarify that for the lump sum.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, so they will see a lump sum retro only if they have hours worked in the 3-year window. If any portion of that was a leave of absence, that will not be included when they're calculating the lump sum. Because lump sum is based on hours worked for those 3 different years. Because it's not a cumulative increase, it's per year, per, I guess, year of the period 20 to 21, 22 to 2022 to 2023. And again, we're going to have a frequently asked questions page that will answer everyone's questions as well, especially given leaves of absences.
Wonderful. Okay, so there's a request if you could put the bill 124 adjustment slide up again. Just, I think that's a popular slide that will help people to understand. Great. There's a question in the chat of, will any support be available to PIs who will struggle to cover the increased salaries for research employees with current grant funds?
This is not our area of expertise in people and culture. There will be information coming out from RFS.
Regarding
Anna, sorry, Anna, it's Maria Kanu. Can I just say Brad sent an email to all the principal investigators with the key contact and RFS for them to reach out to.
Excellent. Thank you, Maria. Really appreciate that.
Amazing. Thank you. I also have had questions personally about whether the lump sum will be taxed.
Yeah, it'll be all taxed. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
And just to clarify, if people are working 35 hours per week, that will be included in the calculation of their lump sum. And even if full-time should be 37.5, and that needs to be adjusted in the future.
So your calculation is based on your hours worked in our current VIP system. So if you are on 35, it's based on 35. Our approach in the last couple of years has been to move individuals to 37.5. If that is something that you're in that circumstance with, please connect with your manager and connect with people consultants, and we can take the next steps in that.
Yeah, you would not be disadvantaged if you're a 35 work week schedule, because we'll calculate it based on that.
Great. Kevin Smith's Bill 124 email, it says evaluating specific unionized awards for designated groups and providing additional awards for these positions. Does anybody, I know that's a very specific thing. If anybody has a comment on that.
With that one, we don't have a comment on that. There's information that will be coming later, so we have no information on that.
There's a couple of comments in the Slido about having difficulties contacting people and culture consultants and not getting responses. Does anybody have any advice for that?
Apologies. That is not our goal. Our goal is to respond within 24 hours. If you are having challenges with people consultants, please connect with me as they're on my team. However, I did acknowledge at the very beginning that we have had some delays within payroll and records. If you are having concerns with that area, please also connect with me. I just wanted to differentiate those two pieces, that the people consultants work on our team, and payroll and records work for their Center of Excellence, which is separate from us. But I'm happy to assist in both.
Great, thank you. If somebody supervisor is saying that they're not eligible for the TCP or the Bill 24, but they believe that they are, can they reach out to their people and culture advisor?
Absolutely.
And I've just gone back to the slide so everyone can see who your contact is in people consultants. Or my email's not on there, but it's barbara.carter@uhn.ca. It's pretty intuitive. You can reach out to me as well.
There's a question, will the TCP increase be on top of my new salary, even if HR is behind on processing the promotion?
Yes, I absolutely have seen a few of those, and please accept my apologies on behalf of that area. This is something that I would like you to flag to people consultants so that we can support that. We absolutely want to make sure that everything is taken into consideration.
Great. There's many questions in here about nurses, but I want to clarify that this session is for research individuals, and so those questions cannot be answered here.
Thanks, Amanda. Information on that should be available in our FAQs centrally from People and Culture when they're available.
Great. Will pay bands be increased because of Bill 124?
Pay bands will be increased because pay bands are increased every year. So as I mentioned, we have not yet completed that increase. I'm unsure what that percentage will look like. That will be done soon.
Great. Thank you so much to everybody who's submitting questions. We really appreciate it.
Are they still coming?
Yeah. I'm doing my best. How would we find out our employee performance rating?
You can find that on VIP yourself under employee self-serve.
Great.
Connect with us if you're having difficulty in finding that.
So a question, I understand that the TCP increase includes inflation or as well as merit and position and range. Why is the total TCP increase far less than inflation?
Again, this is a complicated question that is decided not within the PNC group. This is something that is considered at a much higher level, looking at where we're at. From an economics lesson, generally salaries do fall a bit behind inflation because inflation is more variable. However, this is the number that was decided, and we have not, we don't have an intricate breakdown, from the labor market economics of why that number was chosen.
There's a math question. So to clarify of how to calculate the lump sum if people are trying to do it themselves. If they were to make $60,000 this year and they worked all 3 of the years, so they would be eligible for the 3.75 total, do they just multiply that?
It's basic enough to say if you worked the entire moderation period, you made $60,000, you can multiply by 1.375 and your lump sum payment will be $2,250.
Which is the same math that the person asking the question came up with. So yes, you are correct to the.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that Amal vets that is the process.
I do know it's not cumulative, so it would be, I would separate it year by year. That's what I would do. And then
Okay,
and then add them all together.
Okay, so 3 calculations. So let's just do
Yeah.
it here. Plus 600 plus 1200 gives us the exact same number that we calculated to begin with, which is 2,250.
We have 10 minutes left, so we'll just run through a couple more questions and we can leave it for some time for final remarks.
Are we able to put this down and maybe show some faces and I can see who's on this call and not spotlight us anymore?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's okay. The current merit formula pays you less, 0.5% versus over 1%. As you approach the top of your range, it seems like this that somebody is being penalized as they grow in experience.
Yeah, so I guess the way we look at it as a matrix form when calculating what someone should get as an increase is we look at market data. Like I mentioned earlier, when we benchmark our jobs, we take benchmark jobs to determine if our jobs are competitive to the market. So the way we look at it is depending on where you are in the range in relation to the market, it determines if you would be still in a competitive range, I would say. So it's not penalizing, it's just looking at the market and saying, if we did, this is kind of the money we have, this is our budget, how do we still remain competitive with other hospitals or external industries? And then go from there. There's a lot of factors involved in determining a matrix, and the merit, position in range, and market piece traditionally for the annual increase. So we try not to, have someone be discouraged not to do well in their role, but we look at it in a wholesome way in relation to the market, if that makes sense.
Would it be possible to post the link to the TCP guide?
That's currently on the original last year's. We usually do it every year in October. We post it on the compensation department's intranet page on the corporate intranet.
Great. So I think that the vast majority of the questions have been captured in some way or not. I know that some of you may have missed parts. Just want to reiterate that we will be sending out the recording on Monday, so you will have access to that. And all of our wonderful people consultants present here, have reiterated that they're here to help you and that you can contact them if you need help with your specific situation. Any final thoughts from the team?
I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for your patience. I know this has been a really long time coming. I know this impacts us all in some way, shape, or form. We are absolutely here for you, and we all have individual circumstances, and we want to make sure that anyone who has one that they want to discuss, reach out to us. So, don't be a stranger. If you're having trouble with response times, follow up with me. Also, don't be shy to, I know we're always really polite, don't be shy to follow up again in 2 days if you haven't received something from someone. It's because our inboxes are really full, as I'm sure many of yours are too. So, it's not offensive. It's a good reminder in that. So I'm never offended with a follow-up reminder. So that's just my communication style. So I just wanted to thank this group for inviting us. This is now our second time that we have come. I was saying that we should do another one in person where we get to see all of you, because as I said, I just see a couple of names now at the end that we did this. But I'm so grateful for so many of you that attended. And so take good care, have a wonderful weekend, and thank you very much for inviting us.
We've also dropped the feedback form in the chat if you have feedback on the event.
Andrea has asked to answer all the outstanding questions. I don't see them in the Slido, but we will make sure that either that they're in the FAQs that People and Culture put out, and then if not, I promise that we'll answer them back to this form if there is a specific that's not covered in there. I see the retro 124 adjustments impact who. Do you know that, Amal? I'm not a hoop expert.
Ooh, neither am I. That's a good question.
That was
Have
one
to
that we
take
haven't
that
done
back.
yet. So you know what? We're going to bring that back to our shared people and culture questions, and that will be available there. The amount of questions that we've received that we never could have imagined are very significant. So again, thanks for your patience on that as we do our best to help everybody.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Thank you to the RP at UHN Group for putting this together. And thank you so much to the people consultants, people and culture team for coming and giving such an informative session that affects so many people. Amazing. Well, I hope everybody has a great weekend. We'll see you soon.
Goodbye, all. It was great seeing everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.